So the person's name is Justin Drake. He's one of the developers for E2, like very active. He works for the foundation as well. So when he told me look at optimism, I'm like, okay, like this is, I take his word for it. But then I'm gonna get into the optimism part, but the delegate call first. So the problem with this one, okay, let's go one. Okay, so proxy contracts use delegate call. Let's start with that. So who has experiences with like, I'm trying to come up with examples of like something that is proxy. So anybody use like a proxy server somehow, or is anybody willing to give some kind of explanation of it?
Like VPN?
Okay. Yes.
Or proxy, right?
Proxy, like something standing in for something else, in a general sense.
Yeah.
I guess a proxy contract isn't like proxy web server, but they begin. Yeah.
So
Could
you
be.
could say that that a security camera is a proxy for your eyes.
Security. What security?
Camera.
Yes.
If there's a camera in the room, that is a proxy for someone else's eyes.
Yes. So let's say you can be like in Bangkok, and you own the space, and you can still
Yeah.
see us here. So it's definitely a proxy.
That
So-
literally sounds like a third party.
Third party.
Yeah. It's like,
Well,
what did you see? Be my proxy.
Well, in case the camera is pretty reliable.
Right. But like that means
You have to trust somebody.
there's
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff happening. It's not you using your own eyes to
Yeah.
see something.
Yeah.
It's a camera transmitting its information either directly or through hops to you.
Yeah.
So
So
depending on how proximal it is to you, it,
So, getting back on topic, the way I think about proxy is if you're trying to do anything, so like if there is like, let's say a third party in between from what you're trying to do. So like a proxy server, let's say you connect to a proxy server and that proxy server makes requests on behalf of you.
Like a VPN.
Yeah, like VPN. So, so now tying it into proxy contracts. So now a bunch of smart contracts and a bunch of teams are using proxy contracts because it's way, how do you call it? It's more efficient in terms of gas costs to just have one big, or one complex general contract that you deploy that is very expensive, but then your users, let's say they're trying to deploy like a multi-sig wallet or anything like that, they don't have to deploy that whole thing because they just some kind of instantiate from your pricing contract. Okay, let me.
It's a bit like class hierarchies and object-oriented programming, maybe. Like you've got a template, perhaps, that you can stencil more like things from.
Yeah.
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 But you only pay for the like the class kind of thing once, and the proxies are free or like cheaper, or I don't know.
Yes. So they're cheaper in the sense that, let's say, I can draw. Let me draw. This is better. It's gonna help my brain work. So let's say, there's like one big, let's call it like a master contract, right?
The terminology might be.
Yeah, it might be bad, but okay.
I'll let you decide.
Yeah. We'll be schizophrenic, that's what we get there. So, okay, let's say master, right? Okay, and let's say your users are deploying, let's say.
I would, you should just say root. Because I imagine they're probably just talking about a Merkle abstraction tree in order to store contracts, and then you normally refer to the root of the Merkle tree as the first entry point to figuring out where on the Merkle tree your contract would be.
Okay.
Is that what it is, a mask, or is it something else?
Okay, let me give it another shot. So let's say, the master contract has all of the functionality that your DApp needs.
Okay.
It's more expensive, that's why you, the developer, deploy this one. But then when users try to do some actions, when they, let's say, need to deploy something, let's say like a multi-sig wallet, you don't want to just tie it to this somehow and share state with this one. So you just want them to deploy their own contract, but it's not that expensive as this one. So what this
because it only does a small thing, the gas
Yes.
cost is lower and
is lower.
yeah. Okay.
So
Is how from a like computer science point of view is it related to the big contract?
the big contract, yeah. So now let's say, okay. So let's say with this proxy contract, right? You want, let's say, they would have like a blank state. But then if they need some functionality, they delegate those calls to the master contract. Let's say, they have all of the, the functions that the proxies need, like these people delegate here, these do like the computation or whatever, and then this has a new state. So now, there's like an industry standard called like Open Zeppelin, and they have a bunch of smart contracts that you can just use straight ahead. So those, you can think of them as like libraries, or like, if you use something like JavaScript, let's say, packages that you could use. But here, I think so those talk about like some similar things, but this is more about the pattern. And the pattern here is that, let's say, you don't want, so let's talk about the WA, right? So you make every single user, depending on what they're, let's take the example of Gnosis safe wallets. You don't want them, every single user, to just deploy all of that code every single time. So in order to optimize that, let's say the team deploys a big contract with a bunch of functionalities, and now the user's contract have their own state, but then if they need some to run some functions that they don't have, obviously, because you want the deployment to be cheap, they delegate the call to the master contract. The master contract does the computation, and then their state is updated.
All the states of like all the contracts that are similar to that one. So that's where the efficiency comes from.
Yeah. So all of these, let's say, all of these people want their own, how do you call it, multi-sig wallet. So all of these would be like different multi-sig wallet that they. So let's say, they're doing some kind of, they need some functionality. They delegate the call to the master contract that has all of the functionalities that they need.
And then they have to pay the gas for the master contract to execute that.
So yeah, so let's say whatever you're doing, you're still like, yes, you would pay the gas for the whole operation, but what the user is not paying is like deploying the whole thing at the beginning. So it's just like the developer takes the
like the upfront cost.
Yeah, the upfront cost. So basically, what's that? You don't want to like. So let's say
like because it's many, like in the master contract, it's many smart contracts. It's not simply one function, right? It's many.
Yeah, it can be many. Or like, let's say you can compose a bunch of smart contracts and then you deploy that. And that's like, this could be like a bunch of, components of, smart. So let's say, there's like 20 functions and you only run one, like, you only pay that computation cost.
Yeah.
But then the developer or the team that deploys the master contract, and let's say, it takes like, I don't know, like $100 your users don't pay that $100
Sure.
every single time that they want to deploy, like let's say like a monthly wallet.
Sure.
They only like let's say deploy it for like $1, let's say, because like the main thing that they care about is their state, but not they don't need all that thing because they can delegate the what functions they need to the master contract.
So-
There's like security,
So
a
once,
massive one, but
once the master contract is deployed on chain,
sure.
even if it's used again and again and again, it doesn't need to pay. Like the
Yeah.
master.
Yeah, once it's deployed, like the nodes in the network have that contract.
Yeah.
So it's like a one-time payment basically.
Yeah.
Should be better now.
So mainly people use proxy contracts for one, developer flexibility of like let's say you need to upgrade something, it allows that kind of pattern, and also let's say if you want to not make your users pay that much money when they want to deploy something or like do something. So that's my rough understanding of proxy pattern. Now I'm going to talk about the challenges here of like you trying to so if you're a developer, the way you kind of like really try to understand it, so actually is like go and actually read the smart contract, but then the problem is you start reading the code and then you see like assembly and then the assembly code. So it's not, how do you call it? It's not.
It's pretty low level. It's pretty low level.
It's very low level, and people try to avoid using that.
Yeah.
But then in some like very, how do you call it, optimization thing, people might refer to that instead of writing solution.
It's like the same thought process when it comes to like the normal computers.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it.
So now, I don't know. Let me just show very quickly, what it kind of looks like. Let's see. If we just do assembly, you would see them hanging out. Like, okay, so let's say, you're trying to understand the code, then, you read it, you can kind of follow it around, but then afterwards, you have a bunch of assembly blocks. Like, let's say they can be like one-liners, but then afterwards, this, you hit it and then you start scratching your head.
Where is the assembly code?
So this is on the Gnosis safe proxy factory. So like, this is just like a factory contract. But then, actually, let me see how many assembly lines we have. Okay. Well, I don't know what the assembly actually does. So that's my limitation now.
Maybe you should research that.
Huh?
Maybe you should research that.
Yeah. I'm gonna research that, but it's just that it's not something that I have that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
So like I have to do more work on understanding these. So like let's say you're just doing your own Solidity contracts.
Do you have to do that to understand what this contract is doing, or do you have to then understand why this contract is doing, and then you have to go do that too? Like
Okay.
what is the
So people are using inline like assembly because of optimization.
okay?
So
Because JavaScript ultimately relies on assembly, and normally you never have to look at it, or like you're talking to the computer in its own language,
Yeah.
or like there is to be some sort of reason for it.
okay, so when you have Solidity, right, you still have to compile it down. You have to compile it, and that takes way more things. But like if you can just manipulate straight up, like the EVM opcodes, then it's faster.
No.
So the dilemma here is like the more a contract or like a thing is popular, the more the developers better try to do some very big
Optimization.
optimization that is secure for like an average